Hello everyone, dear students. So let us continue with the second module of list. In my previous video, I had talked about what is a list data type, then how to create lists in Python. We can create three types of lists, three ways of lists. One is empty list, a list with some elements, and then list with elements using some inbuilt methods. So these are the different things that we had discussed. Next, list indexing also I had told. As I have already explained, there are two types of indexing. One is forward indexing, wherein it contains positive values, and backward indexing, which contains negative values. It starts from -1 to the last number, -6 in this case, and then forward indexing, which starts from 0 and it ends at n-1 or end -1. So if the list contains totally 6 values, it stops at the index stops at 5. So this is about forward and negative indexing, which I have already explained you. Next is we say lists are mutable. Mutable means you can change the list if you want. You can put duplicate values also. Okay. So this is an example of it. This was also done in the previous video. Next, getting a list length using in the inbuilt method called len. So span is a list here of three strings actually, cat, dog and mouse. So whenever I say len of span, I'll get 3 because I have 3 elements in the list. Next, there are certain list operations. This also has been explained to you already. So let us not worry about this now. I'll move forward. Next, how to traverse a list. Fine. So using a for loop that has been shown here. So for example, if I take the list as ls is equal to 34 high 2 comma 3 and -5. What is 2 comma 3? 2 comma 3 is a list inside another list. So already existing list contains 2 comma 3, which is one more list. Now if I traverse it using for item in ls. What is item here? Item is a variable. So you are using it as a counter. Okay. So item will traverse from 0th index to the last index. So in this case 34 high 2 comma 3 and -5 will be printed if I print item like this. Next, list elements can be accessed using range function and len function. How to use range and len together with the list? Here is an example for you. So ls is equal to 1 2 3 4. So this is a list I am taking. It's a list of integers for I in range of len of ls. So len of ls means what? It will count the number of elements. Len function will count the number of elements in the list. So here I will get range of 4. So what happens? Each element it will take whenever I say ls is equal to ls of I. Ls of I is equal to ls of I into 2. Double star 2 means I am taking the power of it. Okay. So 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, like that. I am finding the square of that number that is present in that index. So 1 square is 1. The output is 1. 2 square will be 4. 3 square will be 9 and 4 square will be 16. So this is about the how to use len and range function together. Fine. Now you have certain list methods. You can add values. You can find a value in the list with the index method. For adding values you have two methods, append and insert. And for finding the value you can use index method. Next, for sorting, you have sort method. Of course, you can reverse the sorting by using reverse is equal to true. Okay, so what is this? You can give it as a key value pair. Fine. So I've already explained you this sort method also. How to reverse the value? As I told you, call the sort method only. It will usually sort it in ascending order, but I want descending order sorting. So what I will do, I will say reverse is equal to true at the end of after calling the sort method. So just beside the sort method only, okay, I can say reverse is equal to true. So just observe here, there is an example here for that. So this is the usual sorting that happens. I have given the value as 3, 10, 5, 16 and -2. And I am calling ls.sort. ls is a list, original list. So when I sort, usually it will sort it in ascending order. What is the ascending order value that I get? -2, 3, 5, 10 and 16. Now, whenever I say ls.sort of reverse is equal to true, this is what I told. You give a attribute called reverse is equal to true. You make it true. That means you are telling it to sort it in the reverse order. What is the reverse order of ascending order? It will be usually in descending order. So that is 16, 10, 5, 3 and minus 2. So you can use reverse method also directly like this. So whenever I say reverse, the list whatever you have given, it will be reversed. So 4316 is the original list. If you see here, whenever I print the reverse list, I will get 6, 1, 3 and 4. So dot is the operator that you should use to call the method. Next, count method. As I have already explained you, what does this count do? Count actually gives the number that you pass, mind it. Okay, it is not the count of the total list, it is the count of whatever value you pass. For example, ls is equal to 12521. So some randomly I have given some integers here. Fine. So 2 is repeated 3 times, correct? If you observe this list, 2 is repeated how many times in the list? 3 times. Fine. So whenever I say ls dot count of 2, I am counting the number of 2's here. That is the meaning of this. Okay. So number of 2's will be 3. So the output will be 3 here. Okay. That means to say this item which is 2 is repeated how many times? 3 times. Similarly, if I say count of 54, 54 is not present in the list if you observe. So the count will be 0. The output will be 0. Next, clear function. What does it do? It clears the list. So whenever you print the list, it will print an empty list for you. For example, ls is equal to 1, 2, 3 is the original list. Fine. So I will call the clear method on the list. Now whenever I print the ls value, I will get an empty list like this. Next I have insert function. Okay. So in this insert function, what I can do, I can insert a value into the list. How to add it? You should pass 2 parameters to the insert function. First one is the index in which the value is to be inserted. And then the second one is you will give the string value. Okay, you are giving a string value here. So 1 comma high. High is a string here. So you are inserting at the first location here. So what will be the output of it? 3 comma high comma 5 comma 10. Fine. Next, you have index method here. So index of 2. Now what is the meaning of this index method? Whatever value you have given, if it is there, okay, if it is there in the list, it will return the index of that particular item. Fine. For example, ls.index of 2. 2 is present at the first location if you observe. Fine. So it will return the index of that first occurrence in the list. So the index starts from 0, 0, 1. So 1 is the index of 2. So that is why the output is 1. Now suppose I use 15, 4, 2. Here the index of 2 is 2 because it is found at the second location. So that's why it will return the value as 2. Next, ls.index of 2 comma 3 comma 7 I have given, right? So here what happens? It will return the index, okay, of 6. Okay, what is the index of what is the index of 2 here? It is 2 itself. But whenever I give ls.index of 2 comma 3 comma 7, okay, I have given 3 values here. So what happens? It will go to the, okay, this particular 2. Okay, it will not give 2 as the output because you are giving 3 parameters here. What is the meaning of these 3 parameters? First understand that. Okay, so it should find the index of 2, okay, increment it by 3 times, okay, and the value, the step number or the value that it should leave is 7. That means from the starting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total elements is given here as the last value. Okay. So 3 means what? After every 3 elements, it should start the count. Okay. It should find the index. But the element for which the index is needed is 2. So what happens is it will get the index of this 2, not the first one, because it says after every 3 elements you give the, okay, index. So what happens here? It will search 2, okay, and it will find that it is found at this particular location. It will omit these three elements because the step size is 3. The middle element that you are giving, the argument that you are passing as the second argument, that is the step count, means after every 3 values you start the search. Okay, so the output is 6 here. Similarly, if I use ls is equal to 15, 4, 2, 10, this is the original list that I have used. So if I say ls dot index of 53, 53 is not there in the list, so it will give you a value error. Now there are certain important points that you should remember or keep in mind while using list methods. Okay, now let us see the difference between append method and extend method. Okay, now whenever I use two lists, say 1, 2, 3 is the first list, 5, 6 is the second list. If I say ls2 dot append of ls1, means second list should be appended at the end of the first list. How it will be appended when I use append method is, it will add it as a single value to the existing list. So 5, 6 is already existing. To that I have appended 1, 2, 3 as a one more list or one more element. Just observe here. So it will create one list inside another. That is the use of append method. Now whenever I use extend instead of append method, what happens? Just observe here. Say I have used ls2 dot extend of ls1. Okay, so 5, 6 will be as it is. To this it will add these list elements as the elements of the first list. So it will create a single list for you. Whereas in the first case, what happens? It will create one list inside another. So this is the difference between using what? Append method as well as extend method. Fine. Now we will see the sort method. You have to use compatible types. What are compatible types in Python? Compatible types means the types which are reversible, which are mutable. So those types are called like compatible types here. So for the sort method, what I should use? Now just observe here, I have used the list as 34, high, minus 5. Now whenever I say sort here, of course the first and third element is the integer elements, fine. But the second value that I have given is a string because it is high, right? So it says a type, it gives me a type error when I use sort on this particular list because this high is not supported. That is, string instance is not supported. Okay, understood, right? It is not compatible, we say. String cannot be converted to integer automatically. That is why this type error will come. Now, how to correct this? So, for example, you have used 34, 2, 3, 5. Okay, here also there is a type mismatch because you have given the second element as a list, but it should be a integer. Now just observe here. If I give 3, 4.5, 2, 4.5 is what? 4.5 is a floating point value, but integer and float in the Python are actually compatible. Okay, so you can use like this. Fine. Now when I use this list and use sort method on it, I will get the sorted value. What is the sorted value of this list? It is 2, 3, 4.5. As you know, if I just use sort method, that means it will sort it in ascending order. Next, for sort method, or sort function, it uses an argument called keys. Okay, so that also can be used. Next point, you observe most of the list methods, whether it is append, extend, sort or reverse, they modify the list object internally and they return none as the final output. Okay, just observe here. So suppose I have used ls is equal to 2, 3. This is my original list and I will append it with 5 and create a new list. So what is my new list? If I print the ls value now, 2, 3, 5. Now just observe this. If I print ls1, ls1 is what? The modified list. Original list is 2, 3, 5, but the modified list will contain none. So this is what I am telling here in the fourth point. What I am telling is, it will modify the list object internally. Okay, it will modify the list object. That means the original list will get appended when you use append method. ls1 will not be, okay, the value that you want. If you print ls, ls will be pointing to 235, ls1 will be none. Okay, so it returns a none value. Fine. Next, how to delete the elements. For this, it supports with pop method. Okay, there is a function called pop. Okay, few built-in methods are there apart from this also, but anyway we want to see what is the first method. So first method that it suggests us or gives us the pop method. So for example, I have taken this list with 5 elements. Now whenever I say ls.pop, which element gets popped? Usually the last element gets popped. Okay, so x is equal to ls.pop means what happens? The last element will be removed and it will be put to the x. Now x value will become that popped value. So what is the final list that will remain after popping? If I print ls, I will get only the first 4 elements. Fifth element is gone. Fine. So if I print x value, I will get 10 because the popped element is stored in x according to this code. Right? Now, if you want to pop with a particular index, means a particular index value should be removed from the list, then you can use pop of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what? That is the index value that you give, right? Now, x is equal to t dot pop. T means what? T is the original list. Pop is the function that you are using, and of 1. 1 means what? The index value. So what has happened? Whenever I print the original list now, I will get only A and C. B is popped. Pop means it is removed. Okay. Suppose if I say print of x, then I will get B as the value because B is the value that is popped. Next, I can use a remove function. Okay. So when to use remove, when to use the pop function is, pop function can be used if you know the index value. Okay. So just observe here. If you know the index value, you can use this. Fine. So suppose if you don't know the index, okay, but you know the value, you know that that value is present, okay, in the list. So what I will say, ls.remove of 34. 34 is present here. Just observe this list. So it is present here. If I give 34, okay, that element will be removed. Okay. Now whenever I print the list, that is ls, I will get 5, 8, minus 12 and 2 as the output. 34 will be the removed value.